Shalom. How's everyone doing this Monday morning? This Monday afternoon. For those who don't know me, my name is Mr. Andrew Williams. I'm also known as the Prophet of War. Today, I decided to make a second video sharing my testimony of being homeless in Phoenix, Arizona. This is my second video, series 2, how I was homeless in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm gonna try to keep this video as short as possible, but if not, please bear with me. In other words, be patient. After staying in Flagstaff, Arizona for a month or two, I finally reached my destination to go down to with my Trek road bike all the way down to Phoenix, Arizona. Once I got to I didn't wheel my bike all the way. At that time, I didn't wheel my bike all the way to Phoenix. Halfway, then I got a ride with a elderly couple that took me to Phoenix, Arizona. And since it was my first time in Phoenix, Arizona, and they were going to another city called Tempe, Arizona, I decided just allow them to drop me off any place in Tempe. That's where the Holy Spirit, Kadosh Ruach, told me instead of getting off in this specific area in Phoenix, get off in Tempe, Arizona, which is going to they'd be able to go as far as they can to drop me off. And that's what they did. The elderly couple who gave me a ride from Flagstaff all the way to Tempe, Arizona, they dropped me off in Tempe, Arizona. If I remember correctly, I think they dropped me off someplace on Beltline. I forgot what is Beltline Street or Beltline Avenue, or it was a long stretch road. So once I got to Tempe, and then to keep the story short, after staying in Tempe for a couple of days, I came across a mountain at a park. I don't remember the name of the street, and during the daytime, and I just camped out at that mountain. Because it's a park here, and there was a big mountain over here looking over the park and part of Tempe area. And there was like apartments and condominiums around that park, and so the mountain was up here, and then there was a couple of trails that led up to that mountain. So I took my bike, my Trek road bike, and my trailer, and pushed it up the bike trail or the walking trail to on top of the highest peak of that mountain. And then I stayed there for a while, met some people there, and then that's where I decided to pitch my tent. And so one of the nights as I pitched my tent there, because I did met some people at that area. A lot of people walk on that bike, on that walking trail up and down that mountain or around that mountain to go to different area. So there was like bushes, thick bushes in that area, and so there was like two walking trails. One the main one that I encamped right in front of, and then there was a second one and right behind that led behind the mountain. But this one specific night, as I was sleeping in my tent, and it was after 2 o'clock that night, or 2 o'clock that morning. The Holy Spirit, Kadosh woke me up about 2 o'clock that morning, warning me that there was somebody was planning on attacking me. And so as I woke up, I'm a very light sleeper anyway. So I woke up laying on my back, and I allow my body to become extremely relaxed and my mind become extremely calm to sense any danger around me. I did sense some danger or some individuals around me. My psychic senses kicked in. Even my physical senses, like my physical ears and my physical nose and my eyes increased, like superhuman. So I did heard somebody outside my tent down the hill, and so I got out of my tent and stood in front of my tent, the entrance of the tent, and looked around, sensing anything, and then I walked around my tent, sensing if anybody was near my tent. But I did sense that somebody was like several feet on the edge of the mountain, hiding in the building, hiding behind the bushes, because certain areas of the side of the mountain was pitch dark, and you couldn't see that area clear, not even the bushes. That's how dark it was. But in the front area of the tent, there was a little light that you could see up and down the trail that led up and down that mountain. But on the side and behind me, you couldn't really see. You couldn't see anybody there. So I woke up after. Excuse me, my throat is kind of dry. So when I saw the how can you explain it? I didn't see them with my naked eyes or my physical eyes. I saw them with my my spiritual eyes, what some people will call your third eye, clairvoyance. I saw them squatting down behind the bushes, waiting for me to go back into my tent so they could sneak up on me to attack me in my tent. And so as I stood there watching these three individuals with my spiritual eyes, because it was kind of peculiar, because with my mind eye, it was just like I could see everything like it was daytime, like I was looking at them with my physical eyes, but like it was day. That's the best way I can explain it. But it wasn't day. It was pitch dark, and I looked at them and said, "I know y'all guys is hiding behind these bushes, so come out and approach me before you get hurt." And they didn't came out immediately. They thought I was just joking or just trying to scare them off. So they stayed there, hid behind the bushes about a minute or two later. So I said, okay. So I picked up some small stones. And then I remember telling them, not my exact word, but I remember saying something. "I know you think I can't see you, because with your naked eyes or your physical eyes, you cannot really see in the dark. But I could see you. So I took the small stones and tossed it toward each bush that they was hiding behind. And then I said, I see you. As I tossed the stone and it landed at that bush, I said, I see you at that bush. Then toss another stone, toss it at that another bush. So I see you at this bush. And then at the third bush, I toss it and say, I see you at this bush. So all three of y'all get up and approach me before you get hurt. So out of fear, they stood up, and one of them, I remember one of them said, "How you know we was hiding behind these bushes? There's no way you could see us. It's pretty dark or pitch dark on this side of the mountain." Then I explained to them, I said to them, "Don't worry about how I see you. Only thing you should know about, I know you trying to attack me, and I see you hiding behind these bushes. So what you want to do?" So they approached me. Three of them approached me coming up the mountain, but they stood a distance away, and they was kind of curious along with their fears, and they asked, "Well, how did you know we was hiding behind these bushes?" I told them, "Don't worry about how do I know you was hiding behind these bushes and that I could see you." And as they was carefully looking at me from head to toe, they noticed I didn't have no flashlight or anything in my hand or a weapon to flash upon them, to see them with a flashlight or a weapon to use against them to attack. Then I quickly said, "I know your thoughts. I know your intentions. You thinking about you want to attack me because you think I have no weapons." Then I remember I told him, "I am a weapon. So if you want to attack, I'm gonna warn you now. You will end up in the hospital. So just be very careful with the decision that you make. Do you want to continue with your thoughts?" And so they kind of got a little frightening more. Then they said, "Okay, you don't act normal like everybody else, so we just gonna leave you alone." So those three white boys just left down the main trail down and of the mountain where my front entrance of the tent face, and they kept looking back. So I stood there a few feet or 7 feet away from my tent so I could see them actually leaving the mountain to go into the park area. And of course I did stayed awake and stay up to make sure that they wouldn't try to circle back or try to circle back to attack me, and then or somebody else come up to the mountain. So I stood there about a good 30, 45 minutes to make sure I was safe and secure. Then I went back into my tent. Then when I realized that everything was safe and secure, then I lay back into my sleeping bag and went to sleep. So that was one of the nights within that first year when I was homeless, that somebody three white boys attempt to try to attack me on that mountain. And so, and it's that the ability wasn't, I just recently find out what's the name of that ability is called. It's called mind sight, if I remember correctly. You're able to see with you close your eyes, then with your eyes closed, you're able to see clearly with your eyes closed. That's the best way I can explain it. But after doing some research on it, what that ability is called, if I remember correctly, it's called mind sight. Some form of psychic ability or spiritual gifts that I do have. And it's not the first time that I experienced that. I did experience, when I was 15, 16 years old, practicing studying Taekwondo, Muay in Fort Riley, Kansas, as our instructor had us practicing blindfolded. And I was the only student that was able to fight against or practice or spar against the other students that very well with my eyes blindfolded. And and so stuff like that. I think I got hit like 3 times. Get out, and so other than that, after we were sparring about a good 2 or 3 minutes, that was the only time I got hit. And they was amazed how I was fighting very well blindfolded. But when I used to work in the government, the different agencies in the government, that was one of the psychic training that they would put us to. They would blindfold us to see if we could use our psychic abilities and our spiritual gift blindfolded. And so that's the early memories that I do remember practicing, if I remember correctly, mind sight, if that's the proper terminology for it. So that's another spiritual gift, or another testimony I wanted to share as my spiritual gift and my psychic ability have kicked in to help protect me from any harm or danger or threat as people were trying to sneak attack me that night, that specific night. And so I thought I'd share this testimony, how I use my spiritual gift, what is called mind sight, to protect myself from a sneak attack from 3 white boys who was planning on attack me in my sleep inside my tent. So that's my testimony for the day, of my second of this second series when I was homeless in Phoenix, Arizona. But this actually took place in Tempe, Arizona. So I appreciate y'all stopping by to watch and to listen. Y'all have a good and blessed day. Shalom.